Boss Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Aston. Today we're going to do a quick review for the Get Down episode 2. Alright, so this episode is really good. It's going on with the same things as episode 1. We get to see basically the team coming together. We see a lot more of the main characters spending more time together. What else do we get to see? And it's a lot going on in this episode. I'm just going to break it down from character to character. So the first character I'm going to talk about is Big Ann. So Big Ann is basically like Shao's sugar mama. She's head of the drug gang. She's Cadillac's mom, actual mom. And we see like she's trying to handle business. She's trying to see that after the warlords attacked her club, she's basically trying to get the club reopened so she can have that income available to her again. And she's trying to figure out why she was actually attacked in the first place. She's trying to figure out if it was from like Harlem or somebody else, like who's responsible for this attack. And like they let her know, like her inside man let her know basically, like it was a hit on you, but we don't know who did it and we don't know what the reason was. So that's really all we got on Big Ann. We don't see like too much of her, but we do see that she's messing around with Shaolin a little bit. That's his sugar mama, and he tells her he wants to get out of the game. She like rips the $100 bill in half, gives him half of it, and said, "Next time you come back, it won't be so easy for you to make money." So I want to know how that's gonna be and like how soon Shaolin's actually gonna go back. Well, he's probably gonna go back next episode, but we'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out later on when I actually get to episode 3. So next we're gonna move to Shao. So we see Shao is actually pretty dedicated to the music thing. He's not really he's not tagging anymore. He's actually stepping away from Big Ann and her little empire and everything at the beginning of the episode. We see he go and visit with her. She basically tells him, if you come back, the job, like I was getting ready to promote you and everything. I'm grooming you to be more than what you are. And she doesn't really believe in his music at all. I don't think she ever heard him do music or anything, but she just doesn't believe him. Like she just tells him like, you're just gonna be another nigga out here blowing the horn. So we see she doesn't believe in him. And we see like Charlotte kind of takes like offense to that, but hey, he understands. He still takes the half of the $100 bill that she gives him. So in case like in the future he does come back. What else do we see Shaolin doing? We see Shaolin's like he on the turntables. He's actually really focused after Grandmaster Flash came in and told him like he gave him the crayon this episode. Grandmaster Flash did a lot this episode. He gave Shao the crayon and told the team like, look, you guys need to figure this out as a group. How this crayon can come in handy for the DJs, like finding the Get Down section of the record. And we finally found out the Get Down is what the Get Down actually is. Last episode, the Get Down was like a party that Grandmaster Flash on, but the actual Get Down, what the party was themed off of, is the section of a record where it's basically just the instrumental. Like when you hear a record today, when there's no singer or anything on it, that's the section that they call the Get Down of a song. It's basically where it's just the percussions, the instrumental playing, and they find a way to loop it. They use 2 discs, or 2, back then they used 2 albums, and they actually loop it between the 2. You gotta get your timing right, which we see that for the first half of the episode, what Shaolin is struggling on. We see everybody's, not timing, he's trying for the crayon. We see him like basically trying to figure out. We see Shao has pigeons on top of the roof that he's playing with, and he basically like, look, everybody has their natural thing that they have in this world, and once you figure out what that is your talent to fly. We all have wings, and we all need to fly at what we're naturally gifted at. So that's basically what Shaolin was telling everybody, telling Ezekiel, and he's telling everybody else. So yeah, so once Shaolin actually learns how to do actually learn what to do with the crayon, we see now he's on to his timing. He's trying to figure out how to get the 2 albums to get into sync. And we see he's struggling at that for a lot of the part. We see everybody, he obviously just doing it for a while. The first section with the crayon, he had 24 hours to do. I think he probably mastered it within time, or basically when Grandmaster came back, he had it figured out, so it really didn't matter. But for the second part, Grandmaster really didn't give him a set amount of time to figure out how to get his timing down. He just told him, "Look, choose two albums, or choose a song that you're comfortable with hearing over and over and over, because you're going to be in here practicing, and at some point it's going to kind of drive you mad if you don't get your timing down. Like, you're going to have the same song going on. It's going to feel like torture. If you don't give up, it's going to sound like torture for you to keep going and going and going." But which we all see, he actually did catch on. We see everybody dancing around. The whole team is bonding again. And we see they go out for dinner. They went to like a Jamaican spot, it looks like. And we see the whole crew just laughing and joking. And everybody talking about their goals as a team. And we just seen Shaolin just sit back and absorb it all in. He makes little comments here and there. But Shaolin, he's not really a part of the group. I don't know if it's because he's like older, or I want to say he's been through more. But he knows, like, the world isn't as bright as they make it seem. The world is a little bit darker, a little bit colder. You have to get out here and work for everything you want. So I think that's the reason he kind of staying a little standoffish when we see the rest of the group, rest of the guys are all joking around, playing, talking about they want to go to France, or they want to go to Montego Bay. That's so they can see like topless women and stuff. We see that Shao like really being real standoffish. So maybe in the future he'll get a little bit closer with them. I feel like there's gonna be issues that's gonna arise off of how Shaolin treats them. Not really treats them, but the way he interacts with the group. We see he's real standoffish. He's not really part of the team. I feel like he's gonna be, well, I don't know. That's gonna bring a problem in the future. So, well, actually, it brought a problem up in this episode. Now I think about it, we get to the end of the episode. We see Shao, once we see like the tower get burnt out, the Shao was having all his equipment in. We see that Dizzy actually got the chance to save one of the turntables. He had two turntables. Dizzy had the chance to save one. He didn't get to save the mixer. He didn't save the record collection. And I don't understand how Shao could be mad at him for not saving a record collection. When you see how big Dizzy is, Dizzy's about 100 pounds soaking wet, and he wanted him to carry that big chest out of just records. It was like impossible. So Shao was more upset that the tower got burnt down more than Dizzy wasn't able to save things, which I feel like it should matter. We know like Shao doesn't know how to express himself, obviously, but hey, we're already to this point now, and we see Shaolin actually. When we see Ezekiel come to Shao, like, look, what are we gonna do to make this money? And Shao basically tell him like, look, man, ain't no we. We actually tells him to go sell drugs and work for Big Ann, and Ezekiel doesn't want to do that. Ezekiel wants to go the way of his uncle. His uncle offered him a job earlier in the season. Well, last episode, he offered him a job. And Ezekiel says, hey, we might as well just go stick up with my uncle. The uncle give us a job, and we'll figure that out with him. But Shao is more into the quick money. He's trying to get everything figured out faster. And since Ezekiel isn't with that, he basically just throws him on the ground like, look, forget y'all. If I ever see you again, walk on the other side of the street, or it's going to be on site. Yeah, and one thing I do like about Shao, he's cold-hearted. He's with the movement of hard on a female. Like, we see anytime Maylene comes around, she's all types of bitches and hoes. Shao does not give no fucks. Like, Shao basically is telling you, like, look, he doesn't like her. He doesn't care. He feels, I don't know why Shao don't like her. We never really understand why Shao don't like her, but Shao's he's hard on the female. That's how Shao is. But that's really all we got for Shaolin. Let's move on to Ezekiel. So Ezekiel, we see he's still with his poetry. We see when Maylene comes to she comes to Shaolin's little area, like a little burnt bando. She pulls the bell. Everybody's trying to figure out how she even knew where they was. We find out Boo Boo told her sister. And Ezekiel goes down there, and like they're all cool. They're doing like their on and off type relationship. Like she's flirting with him, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? We don't do this. Obviously, you want something." I feel like Shaolin's rubbing off on Ezekiel more as we see the episodes going. Shaolin's starting to rub off on Ezekiel a lot more, or Books, which is the nickname Shaolin gave Ezekiel this episode. So I might go back and forth with Books and Ezekiel. I'm not really feeling books yet. I'm still stuck to Ezekiel. So every once in a while I might go to the books, but right now just Ezekiel. And we see Shaolin starting to realize the intelligence of Ezekiel too in this episode. And like Ezekiel, like talking about writing and reading and everything. I don't really think that's a sign of intelligence, but well, maybe it is. But we see he'll rather spend his while everybody else is just sleeping or just staring at Shao. You see Ezekiel's actually writing poetry. He's expressing himself in his notepad, and I think Shaolin actually respects that to a degree. And he actually tells him like, "Look, you need to focus on your words and everything because those are your wings. Like for me, the beat is going to be my wings. For you, the words are going to be yours, and you need to focus on your words so that you can fly and elevate yourself." And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that Ezekiel, when he had like the option of do right or do wrong, we see he actually chooses to do the right thing. Like he'd rather work the hard way for money and be safe than to work with drug dealers to go against his morals and do things that he doesn't like. Like we know he doesn't like Cadillac, maybe mostly because of Maylene. Like we see Cadillac dancing with Maylene in episode 1, and so obviously that right there makes Ezekiel not like him. We see how Ezekiel gets upset when anytime Shao calls her a bitch, or even in the club, not in the club, but in the dinner scene when everybody's joking around like about naked females, and Boo Boo asks him, "How does Maylene look topless?" We see he gets a little upset and everything. So obviously, like even though Ezekiel turned down Maylene to do the piano thing, he's just acting tough. He's like he obviously has emotions for her and everything. He's still a little sensitive. We don't know how it's gonna turn out yet. I really don't know. Now that he's playing tough and she's playing tough, I don't know if this relationship is really gonna work out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's too early to tell. I know there's only 6 episodes for part 1, but it's really kind of hard because every time we see these two together, like they're doing their little flirty thing, but then one of them stops it right away. So at the end of the episode, we see Ezekiel actually does step up though and do the piano for her. Her mom just welcomes him back with no problems, no questions asked, and that's cool. But there's really not actually much about Ezekiel this episode. Next, we're gonna move on to Dizzy. Dizzy doesn't have any big parts. We see Dizzy when they actually get the crayon. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do. We see Dizzy trying to draw with it, and he breaks it and like trips out. I don't know what it is. Like it seems like Dizzy is always high. I don't understand. I understand like a hipster, but Dizzy is always high. He's too young to be that high all the time. But like I like Dizzy. Like he's still one of my favorite characters. He was my favorite character this episode. I'll get to that later on. But Dizzy, like he's still a pretty cool character. We also see, yeah, Diddy doesn't do much. Diddy just do like the crayon, gets yelled at, and that's really it. So we're gonna move over to Ra Ra. When we see Ra Ra, he's giving advice to everybody. He's the advice man this episode. We see when Ezekiel turns down Marlene, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? You want all this time you wanted Marlene to come to you for things. She's actually coming to you now. She's starting to see the light of day. She's starting to give you play. And you just blatantly just turn her down." So that's the first time we see him giving advice to Ezekiel. Later on, we see him giving advice to Shaolin. Like, look, use the Force. We see more Star Wars references. I'm starting to like Rah Rah a little bit more every episode. He's like, look, Obi-Wan said, hey, use your other senses to see. You don't need your eyes. Your eyes may deceive you. So we see him get the little cover over Shaolin's eyes, which I still believe he probably could see through. It probably had to be one of Dizzy's little neck scarves or something. But besides that, we don't really see too much of Rah Rah. There's really none of the children have actually shown too much this episode. We move on to Boo Boo. We just see more of Boo Boo age. We see like when everybody's kneeling and everything and talking about the crayon, he giggles. We see when they're dancing, we see Boo Boo. She's jumping on the couch or the little chair they have in there. So we see Boo Boo's age is starting to come out. He's obviously not as mature as the rest of the group. He's not even really considered he is part of the group. Because when you break it down, you see like it's the Fantastic Four plus one. And you see like Charlotte kind of separates everybody else. and plus one is Boo Boo. So he's part of the group, like honorary membership. He helps the name wise, and that's a good thing. I'm glad he's still sticking around. One thing I noticed too, like when everybody's like, I'm thinking they were smoking weed in that joint, and well, what the joint was, yeah, they were smoking the joint, and we see Boo Boo's obviously high. I don't know how old he is. Like he's starting to seem a little bit older, but he's still like mad immature for his age. Like not his age, but he's obviously much younger and much immature than the rest of the group. But so we're gonna move on to Maylene. Maylene, this episode, she had a lot of camera time. We see she's still on punishment from her little escapade. She went out dancing, got caught sneaking back in, got that ass whooped. She deserved the ass whooping. She deserved another ass whooping for what she did in church this week. I know last episode I was talking about how it seems like Maylene's family and Dizzy's family are higher, like basically are doing better financially than Ezekiel's family. Well, it turns out it seems like all of them are basically on the same level. We see Dizzy's when Dizzy and everybody leave for the what did they leave for? They left for the chili, the mac and cheese chili mac. They left for the chili mac, not the government cheese. So everybody's on government cheese, and we see Maylene's family is being supported by their uncle Francisco, who's basically like I don't know, he's a drug king, something. He's some kind of like shady businessman though for the Bronx, for the Boliquas anyway. And I want to bring that up, but we see Maylene like her uncle comes, he brings a little icy, he brings the icy for her mom, her dad, and everybody. I'll get into Francisco later, but Maylene, her role, like he tells her, he does like a little Christian thing, like he blessing her, like if you take your punishment with your head high, you shall be saved, whatever. Kind of blasphemous type thing. She laughs about it. The mom does, she finds it too humorous, but it doesn't really matter. Like Maylene, it didn't make it the call from the dressmaker talking about like bring Maylene through. I had a vision from Jesus and I wanted to make a dress for Maylene. The mom seems mad cool. Like even though she knows Maylene's on punishment, she makes sure it's like, look, I got an excuse for you. Just go get the dress made real quick and come right back, and also go grocery shopping on the way. So she does that. We see Maylene makes a stop at her uncle's house. Like I said, it seems like Maylene and her uncle was really close. Her dad doesn't like it, but Maylene and Francisco seems to be really close for the most part. We see when Maylene was in trouble, she went to Francisco. When Maylene's upset about a situation, she goes to Francisco. So Francisco is obviously a pretty close individual to Maylene. And we're starting to see that relationship starting to develop more and more. He actually believes in her talents and everything. Maylene, she kind of like streams on Ezekiel. I don't know if she's really, we know she really does like him, but at the moment when she's like dancing with her friends and everything, they're like, hey, you know Ezekiel basically would do whatever you tell him to do. You might as well just have him be the piano for you if you really want to get this record deal. You should do your thing. She's dancing around, she's singing, she comes up with the idea to switch up the church music, which I personally think is a bad idea. I understand like switching it up, but as far as she went, she knew she was gonna get in trouble. So she does like the most knowing her situation. She needs like to relax a little bit, calm down a little bit. And then we see like when Maylene, she actually like we see her upset, like I think it was pancakes and syrup, the whole thing. Uh, so we see her move past that. Now, now she's actually inquired. We see her dad actually kicks her to the back of the choir. Like, look, it's my fault that you want to do. You have all these devilish ideas like dancing or disco. So from now on, you're not gonna be the lead singer anymore. You're gonna be more of a background singer. Have somebody else move to the front. Whoever that new lead singer was horrible. You see everybody's getting ready to leave. Everybody's starting to freak out, do the little I feel Jesus thing, the little Chappelle. And Maylene finds a way to make her way back to the front to get her vocals when she sees like the music producer is leaving. She does her vocals. She pushes the music up, basically stripped down, pull her hair out like a Maybelline commercial. And nothing about that dress was conservative. I mean, her breast is out. She had a cut all the way up to her hip. Her ribs were showing. But Like nothing about that dress was conservative. She should have knew that was gonna start all types of backfire once she performed like that. Even like the way she was moving was all sensual, over sexualized for a church song. But all Maylene really cares about is getting this record deal. She doesn't really care about how she does it. All she cares about is that she does get it, which is pretty messed up. So at least it worked. At least like the choir, not the choir, but everybody else got into it. The music, it actually did pick the scene up a lot. So now that we're done with Maylene, we're gonna move over to Francisco. So Francisco, he's like kind of mastermind behind everything that Maylene does. We know she's on punishment. What he do? He come in and talk to her dad like, look, you're smothering her. You need to let her be a teenager and do what she wants to do. And you see Maylene's dad really is not having. He's telling them like, look, you're not gonna tell me how to raise my daughter, which is completely understandable. Like just because you got a family, you're not gonna come over here. Like he's telling them like, this is my child and all those things. Don't come over here like messing up what's going on here. And if you keep like undermining me, I'm gonna shut it down. You're not gonna be able to see my family or like see my niece or like my family. And I kind of backfired in the face. Like, how you gonna tell me you gonna cut me off and you don't like the way I live my life, but you're profiting off my life? Like, even though I might be doing some shady things, I'm making sure you have the church you want. When your numbers weren't right, I'm making sure I bring people to boost your numbers up. And like, I honestly respect. Like, I understand Francisco. I understand where his brother is coming from. Like, it is like that is his daughter, but at the same time, it's like everything like, your whole life is based on me. How can you get mad at me for trying to help out or giving my advice on things when basically I'm supporting you and I'm supporting her? So kind of like it's mom would just say it's both our child. She just lived with you, but I feel like it is going. It's going like it's going to get worse. I feel like between Francisco and his brother, I don't know how much worse it's going to get. It's obviously going to get a lot worse after what Maylene just did, and I don't know how much worse you can get from Maylene. Like it feels like she must gonna be kicked out again. Like we've seen her get kicked out for a night, but I don't think she got kicked out. She just left. But now I feel like she's probably gonna get kicked out or something. She's gonna give her like an ultimatum, either do this or that. She's probably just gonna leave. I feel like and end up staying with her uncle since her and her uncle are so close. And we don't really see too much other than that with Francisco. Oh, we see Francisco working with the music producer. He actually sent them to the church so he can get things done. We see he has this big, like, grand idea for some type of building going on. Every time we see Francisco in his office, he's looking at this little model that he has built up in the middle of the Bronx. So I don't think he's the one paying people to burn all these buildings down or whatnot, but I feel like he has something to do with it. Maybe it is for his little building that he wants to be done, but I feel like he's kind of involved in all these buildings getting burnt down. I don't know exactly how. I don't. I don't think he's directly paying the warlords to burn things down, but I feel like some type of way he's involved in it. So now that we're done with for Francisco, we're gonna move on to Grandmaster. Grandmaster, we see a lot more of this episode. We see he's in the bando when everybody walks in. We see he's giving advice to everybody. He's pretty strict. He doesn't really. I like his style of teaching. It's I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to give you the key to unlocking the answer. And I used to have like a math teacher. It was so annoying. I feel like I understand how not Grandmaster. I understand how Shaolin and everybody feels when they're giving like the instruction, not the instruction, they're giving the everything they need to unlock it. Because I had like a math teacher that would do the same thing, who would tell us like she would basically give us everything we needed, and we had to figure it out on our own how to actually use it. It was frustrating at the moment, but now I look back at it, I actually remember how to do all the math stuff like I needed to do in that calc class. So it actually turns out like what he's doing is actually building them, helping them be more proficient in like the music whatever area that they're working on. So I understand the teaching style. I like it. Like I said, I've been where Flash is, not Flash, but Shao is. I understand it's frustrating in the moment, but it actually, if you see when you get everything figured out, put all the puzzle pieces in the right places, everything works out for him. Everything sounds good. He's doing good. The whole team's just vibing. So obviously, what Grandmaster is doing is working out for him. And I have more on Grandmaster, but that's for another section later on. And then Cadillac. Cadillac, by hands down, is my favorite character this episode. We see he's real like childish, even though he's an adult. We see he's childish. We see like when the inspector came in, who like basically inside his mom's pocket, he's like, "Oh, you gotta do with business. I should be here." He's immature. He's spilling the drink purposely. He's putting his fingers in the drink. He's just mad immature. When he get kicked out of the room, he dumps the drink out. Yeah, I like Cadillac. He's basically a little asshole. And we see he actually captures the warlord's little brother that he killed. Napoleon was his name. I believe it was Napoleon. We see he has him and the other little guy. He's dancing around. He's playing a disco. He's doing coke. Coke is a big thing in this episode. I didn't know so many people did coke back then. I knew coke was big, but it seems like coke is everywhere in this show. And they all have on these little keychains. For coke to be illegal, we see everybody walking around with a little keychain of coke. It's it's crazy. And we see Cadillac hitting the little disco moves. He's waving the gun. He waves it at his partner, and his partner is ducking like, "Oh, ain't no safety on there." He's showing the bullets to the Napoleon and the other little kid, and he actually got them. He didn't plan on killing them, and we see that when he tells the other guy, Big Wolf, I believe his name was. He tells him like, "Look, hey, we need to figure it out. We need to figure this out. We're not gonna kill him. We're just gonna scare him." And it actually works on the younger one. The issue was when him and Big Wolf was arguing over the gun, like fighting over it. The gun goes off, and he kills the little kid. Which starts another big fight between him and Big Wolf. And they end up letting Napoleon get out. These have to be the most, like, these have to be the worst bad guys ever. Like, inconfident. It's just incontinent. Like, people I've ever seen. Like, yeah, this is like bad. But like I said, no, Cadillac still ended up being like my favorite character this episode. I'm loving to see like, where his arc is gonna actually go. We don't get to see too much like from Napoleon. We see he's in the scene right there. He's playing basketball and they actually get kidnapped, but then he runs out, and we don't really hear much from him. But after that, that's really it. So for this week, I got the get down moment of the week, and that goes to Grandmaster. When Grandmaster is walking around the whole room, he still comes back and put the beat back on track. It shows him like, look, I'm a pro at this. I've got this down to a science. No matter what I'm doing, I'm still able to keep my music on track. It is second nature to me, and that was my favorite thing about Grandmaster this episode. So with that being said, that's all we have for this episode. We're gonna do our 3 ups and 3 downs real quick. So for ups, I gotta give back to the characters. I like. I'm glad we get to see more Grandmaster. I'm glad we get to see more Cadillac and how they work into their environments and everything. And for my down, it had to be those cutscenes again. I'm not really feeling those cutscenes. Like I said, I feel like they're coming too often. Or maybe there's something else going on. I gotta like really analyze it. Maybe the next episode I'll really figure out what I don't like about those cutscenes. Because I like them, but I hate them at the same time. There's something about them that's just rubbing me the wrong way. And I really do not like it. But another up about this is the music. I love the soundtrack that they've been playing. I love the music of this era that they're using. They're using like a lot of the hits, a lot of the music we all know still to this day. So like I like it. It's a great episode. Better than the last one in my personal opinion. And like always, follow like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram at lost_culture. Follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. And stay lost.
Six beats.